All right, all right, all right. Welcome in. Toilets to Titles. This is episode number 200, a major milestone, man. We started this thing about 4 years ago. And I mean, we've done more, way more than 200
Oh,
episodes,
oh
but
yeah.
this show, the flagship, the thing that started this network, 200 times with my guy, Justin Stevens at JustinFF underscore on the Twitter. Justin, how are we doing this evening, my guy?
Hey, I'm doing wonderful. We've had the opportunity to try to invite as many people as possible to stop in and join us and comment because obviously it's all about them. We really appreciate. I mean, we've already got the comments blowing up from some of our regulars, some of our new guys, but obviously, thank you, John, for 200 awesome episodes. Well, 199 awesome episodes. We'll have 200 under the belt here in about 40 minutes. But and then also huge thank you to Nate and Joe for stepping up for us last week and doing episode 199 for us. I'm still not feeling 100%. I don't know what it is. It's been a week and a half, but I'm fighting through it. I feel a lot better today than I did yesterday. So, but this is gonna be a fun episode. We've got a new segment for me that I'm excited about, and a couple giveaways. So this is gonna be good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of Patreons in here, and Joe's in here. We thanked him, Joe Clark. Thanks for everything you do, Joe. Joe is a big part. Like he's probably right now like the spine of Toilets to Titles with the editing and the posting and the website work, and so Joe, we appreciate you. Oscar's in here. Pete's in here. Uncle Steve's been around. Like, we could thank him too, because this man's been
A1.
around since day one. So thank you, Uncle Steve. DB's in here talking about 200, the amount of yards Jahmyr Gibbs will eventually run for in a game. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. But man, it is week 7 of the NFL season. So like for fantasy football, this is kind of the midpoint. This is when you know who you are, what you are, and it's time to make some decisions. And we'll talk about those decisions in a little bit. But Justin kind of alluded to the Patreon's in here. Tier 2 or above, we do a bunch of giveaways. You're going to want to sign up. Tier 2 is $3.50 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee. And guess what we're doing this episode? To anyone tier 2 or above. And right now we have 50 members. So shout out to that. This DK Metcalf rookie card is being awarded to a member of the Title Tribe or the Patreon team, tier 2 or above. Next time, when we get to 65, already announced. This national treasure is Terry McLaurin, 25 of 25. It's probably a $200 card. You sign up for Patreon tier 2 or above, that's going to pay for a few years in there. If you decide to flip that thing, we also have a $25 gift card giveaway. We're doing everyone kind of from the Title Tribe. So we have a Gilded Chat fantasy football community. So everybody in there, they're aware of these giveaways. If you want to join the Gilded Chat, you could talk fantasy football, you could talk gambling, you could talk NFL, college football. You get in there, reach out to me, toiletstitles@gmail.com. Say, Coach, I want to join the Title Tribe. You'll download the Gilded app. We'll send you the link. You'll apply for the server. I'll approve you. You'll join the Title Tribe. Right now we have 200 episodes and we have over 200 members in the Gilded Chat, and it is constantly popping like the comments are right here. So what's that?
I can't keep up.
Man, well, I mean, we're doing the best that we can. Also, check out toiletstitles.com. We just finished so the NFL draft team, Joe, who we mentioned earlier, Ephraim, and myself, we just finished our second NFL draft mock draft. We did it immediately after Monday Night Football. So, Justin, do you want to know who the Colts picked? Because it's going to be posted tonight.
I'm just as interested in knowing who they picked as I am in knowing what position they picked at.
They picked 14th because they're 3-3. And they took.
So you went based off of what they are now, not what.
Yes. So that's why we waited till after Monday Night Football. So they took Brock Bowers,
okay,
tight end from Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
How would you feel?
We could use a tight end. We have several decent tight ends, but we don't have the one go-to guy. So as long as he's well balanced, because we have guys that are specialties at certain things, we need a well balanced guy.
I like that.
He is the president and CEO of T2T.
Yeah, I like that. So Brock Bowers is probably one of the best players in the nation. If he wasn't a tight end, he'd be a top 5 pick. So if you're in the comments or anybody listening, toiletstitles.com on the main page. Well, we have an NFL draft tab with all my player profiles and Ephraim's player profiles and Joe's. I just finished Drake May. But you're going to be able to see our mock drafts. So if you love mock drafts, everybody loves mock drafts, right? I said it's week 7. You kind of know what your team is. All right, if your team's out of contention, you're probably already looking towards the draft, and we have you covered. So it is evaluation time. All right. So I wanted to give you some notes. We're doing something a little bit different this evening. Okay. So being that it's week 7, it's evaluation. You have to know who you are and what you are. You need to make a decision, especially if you're playing dynasty fantasy football. How am I going to approach this? So I want to talk to the people who are out of contention. And it's likely if you're listening to the show, you're this person in a few of your leagues, maybe one of your league, because you're probably in multiple leagues. You're rolling with us. If you're in the Gilded Chat, you're just like us. You're probably in multiple leagues. So, for the leagues that you're out of contention, here's some players I recommend you trade if you're out of contention and you get bank. You get what you can get. I'm always looking for draft picks, first round picks, and then ask for throw ins. I love those third or fourths. Okay. I don't build a trade around third and fourths. I build a trade around firsts or young players with high upside or injured young players with high upside that somebody can't afford to wait for because they want to win now. You take advantage of those players in your fantasy leagues who are on the cusp, right? Those people who are evaluated like, I want to make a run, I want to go all in. You find those people who want to go all in and you approach them with these players and you take those picks off their hand and you take that injured player off their IR. You open up a roster spot for them. All right. So this is who we're shipping. Keenan Allen, who looked absolutely phenomenal against the Dallas Cowboys. Probably would have had 60 more receiving yards if Justin Herbert wouldn't have overthrown him. He's, I think, wide receiver 5 in the season. He's averaging about 22 points per game, but he's 31 years old, and he's only signed through the 2024 season. He is a prime candidate to ship, and he's hot. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and he wouldn't help your roster, but if you're out of contention, dangle him out to the highest bidder because he's going to help somebody take the next step. Raheem Mostert, currently RB1 in the season. He's averaging about 24 points per game, but he's 31 years old. The Dolphins can save $2.8 million if they let him go after the season. Devon Achane is the future. I still don't know how he wants to pronounce his last name, but he's a future in the backfield. Jeff Wilson is only 27 and is under contract till 2024 as well. So they might be more willing to keep him and let Raheem Mostert go. And also Raheem Mostert has the injuries. Again, have the owners, the players in your league bid against each other. Send it out to the group chat. People might get upset because they want to be able to be that one. Put it out there so everybody knows because you're not trying to make people happy. You're trying to make some moolah in the future, okay? Last guy, Adam Thielen, currently wide receiver 11. He's averaging about 18 points per game. He's 33 years old, and I expect the Panthers to invest in wide receiver early next year. Now, players to target if you're out of contention. This first one looked a little better this past weekend, but was a little banged up. That's Garrett Wilson. All right, there might be somebody in your league who has Garrett Wilson as their wide receiver 2 or their flex and can't deal with the inconsistency they're seeing from him with Zach Wilson. You might need to pay up. But if the price is right, I'm willing to have Garrett Wilson on my bench. Drake London, he's currently around wide receiver 40. He's averaging 10 points per game. He has a low of 5-0. Same situation as Garrett Wilson. If someone can't afford to wait or have him and they want an immediate starter, I'm going to give them that immediate starter. And I'm going to put Drake London on my team and watch him ascend because I think he'll have a better quarterback. Same with Garrett Wilson. I think Drake London and Garrett Wilson will both have better quarterback in the coming season. And finally, we got DB, Dan Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, currently running back like 30-something. The Gibbs managers may be tilting after what Dan Campbell said about wanting a guy who could take 20, 25, 30 touches and talking about David Montgomery. They might think his future's a little cloudy. But if you're like our guy, Daniel Brown, you know one day Jahmyr Gibbs is going to run for 200 yards. Like we have 200 episodes. So you're going to want to trade for Jahmyr Gibbs, and you're going to want him on your roster when he does that. So, Justin, we got people. We gave them some moves to make. But now the rest of the people who are in contention, they need to know what's happening. And there were tons of injuries. So why don't you let everybody know?
A ton of injuries this week. So typically we go over the injury show on Friday, TGIF, George and I, and then we give you last minute updated injuries during title time on Sunday mornings. What we're going to start doing is giving you guys a little bit of a taste of what happened this past week or maybe something that changed over the weekend that you might need to look forward to this up and coming week. So again, I apologize for the coughing while I was talking. I'm still trying to get over it. Couldn't get to the cough button in time. Quarterbacks, Justin Fields. This one is very concerning if you're a Bears fan. That just finally means that you can stop trying to start Justin Fields, who's actually been playing well in some weeks for your fantasy team. But very concerning, dislocated thumb on his throwing hand, likely surgery leading to some time on IR. Ryan Tannehill, right ankle sprain. Surgery is a possibility. This is likely a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks out, possibly an IR stint. With his poor play mixed in with this injury, it's Malik Willis's time to stand up and stink it up too, so that Will Levis can finally get a chance to take over the reins in Tennessee. Jimmy Garoppolo, rib and back injury. So this one also was very concerning at the time. He went to the hospital during the Patriots game. The team was relieved to find out later that there was no internal injuries, but since there was a concern of internal injuries, that likely means he has a fracture, that they were concerned about puncturing another organ, or that they were concerned of an organ itself being damaged from his level of pain from a hit. Either way, it's not a really good sign of him suiting up this week in week 7. Most likely not going to suit up, but still overall great news for Jimmy that he's going to get a full bill of health sooner rather than later. But this injury right here, though, the Jimmy Garoppolo is exactly the type of injury you want to try to tune back in for Friday nights, like I said, for TGIF, for George and I, because we're going to have more information on injuries like this where we don't know a lot, being that it's Tuesday night right now. Come Friday, we'll have more information for you. We have a list of the fantasy doctors' information that they go by, that they post out to their subscribers. And we give that out on Friday nights. And then Sunday mornings for title time, Jason and Rich and George will all have even more last minute up to date for you. So that's 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So just before kickoff. So make sure you're tuning in for that as well for your start sit advice. Trevor Lawrence, left knee sprain. May not be serious and may play in week 7, but note that the Jaguars are on a short week this week, playing on Thursday night. So you might want to have a backup ready just in case. Daniel Jones, neck sprain, 50-50 for week 7. He did not play in week 6. So at this point, there's still kind of up in the air about the neck sprain. Kyler Murray, week 8 to 10 is the most reasonable estimate for Kyler Murray's return at this point. Now, if he returns, Arizona's 1-5, so it's just a matter of time before maybe they start considering making the whole tanking thing look a little bit more official. We thought it was official when they signed Dobbs to be their starting quarterback, but he's actually been playing well. But hey, if you're in a super flex league and you're absolutely hurting, this could be a sneaky free agent pickup to get this week, to have and hold him before the good news breaks that he's coming back later, and then you may not be able to get him later. So chances are, if you're hurting in a 2 quarterback league, it's because you didn't take chances like that to jump ahead of someone else previously. Anthony Richardson.
Wait, can I mention something about the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Cardinals are 1-5. But should their head coach be in contention for coach of the year? I went on. They are fighting. Everyone thought this dude was a clown. They clowned him all off season. And his team, they look like they believe in him. They look like they haven't quit. And
yeah, my high school coach used to call it inspired football. Like, if you look like you love the game and you look like you're having fun, then it's going to show on the field because you're playing inspired football. And right now they are playing like they're
he's not even in the betting odds. And I get it, they're 1-5, but I thought they were going to be, maybe I'm jaded because they beat the Cowboys and that's my team. But honestly, week in and week out, what I'm seeing from them, like you said, inspired football, and I'm impressed because I thought this guy didn't know what he was doing, and they're playing for him.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point for sure. Obviously, it won't happen with the record, but I see what you're saying. Right. From an actual pure coaching standpoint. He's doing something right. I mean, maybe this is the first time we see a 2-win team, the coach not get fired from at the end of the season in quite some time. So
right. And do they run it back with Dobbs? Because Murray ain't going to be around next year. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems like that whole relationship got a little bit skewed last season. So
reminds me of RG3, the RG3 situation.
Right.
Kind of,
Right. Anthony Richardson is the last quarterback on the list. Jim Irsay stated yesterday that Richardson is likely going to have season-ending surgery on his shoulder. So bring in the great Gardner Minshew, I guess. Running back CMC underwent an MRI on Monday. There's still no news on the results as of the time that I wrote this up a few hours ago. So, again, tune in Friday. We'll definitely have an update by then, I'm sure. David Montgomery, rib cartilage injury, likely out week 7. The Lions have a bye in week 9, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Monty sit out in week 8 as well, to make sure that rib is as adequately rested as it needs to be moving into the last run of the season for the Lions. Kieran Williams, ankle sprain, speculated by the fantasy doctors to possibly be a moderate high ankle sprain. But even though it's moderate, high ankle sprains are tough to play and cut on. So there's a good chance that he still misses at least week 7. And then Ronnie Rivers, also the Rams, grade 3 PCL, likely season-ending surgery. So here's something to think about, guys. With all the running backs down in the backfield for both the Rams and the 49ers with CMC, if you want to hear more about who's the next man up and who's likely to be that person to watch for on the waiver wire, because all your waiver wires are running most likely tomorrow, we dropped an episode around midnight last night for the waiver wire episode and for everything that you need to know for after the week 6 games headed into week 7. Now, in order to do that, in order to see that waiver wire episode, you'll need to sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/toyless The $5 level gets you exclusive access to the waiver wire content, and the $10 level gets you into our Frankenstein Listeners League for free. Now, if you do that today or tomorrow and you want that episode, I don't know if you can see the old episodes, so let me know and I'll make sure that we get it sent to you as soon as we can. Damian Harris, neck sprain and concussion. The ambulance was brought on for another primetime game for the Bills, and all of our hearts dropped. But fortunately, it seems that this one looked way worse than it actually really was. Being that it's a concussion and being what the concussion protocol is in the NFL these days, and figuring that it's a neck sprain, good chance that Harris will almost definitely miss week 7. Then week 8 in a short week, Thursday night. So I can't really see him playing then either. Here's the thing about that, though. Like, we don't, like, for fantasy purposes, we don't even really care. But I wanted to throw that out there in case anybody hadn't heard that news before, because it did look scary. So fortunately, it appears Damian Harris is going to be just fine. I do want to add, though, that there were rumors that Leonard Fournette was visiting the Bills this week, but just so everybody knows, that visit was actually canceled by the Bills themselves. It wasn't canceled by Leonard Fournette. It turns out that the Bills thought that one of their practice squad players was going to be getting signed by another team, so they wanted to bring Lenny in to try him out for the practice squad. But then that player ended up staying with the Bills this week for another week, so they canceled the visit. Ramondre Stevenson, ankle injury. He came back into the game week 6 against the Raiders. Seems mild, but still want to monitor throughout the week. And another one that's good to check back on Friday night to get the okay to play against the Bills in week 7. Wide receivers, man, Cooper Kupp is back on this injury list. Possible right ankle sprain. This is exactly why I was buying Puka when Kupp was coming back. He's a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver coming off a soft tissue injury. That will sometimes lead to other injuries because they're overcompensating for protecting the soft tissue injury. But I don't necessarily think that was what the case was here, but also we don't really know. It really could have been. So we see this every single year. While this sprain may be mild, it is Cooper Kupp, so you're still going to start him. But I don't think that his presence will be enough of a scare for me as a Puka owner to scoot him back too much from being a high-end wide receiver 2, or even scare me away from Tutu Atwell being a flexible start through these bye weeks moving forward. Garrett Wilson, right ankle sprain. Bad news is that we still don't have any definite update at this time, but the good news is because they're off in week 7 for a bye week. So if you're going to have a Garrett Wilson injury, now's the time to get it. Tyreek Hill, he came up holding his hammy area around week 6, or his hammy area again in week 6 versus Carolina. But you don't have to worry. It was just cramping, but it is kind of concerning that he's now cramped up in 3 of their 6 games. but it's also Tyreek. I'm going to start him even if he's cramping up every single down. DeAndre Hopkins, right hand injury, still waiting on details, but again, week 7 bye for him as well. So nothing to have to dodge a bullet for this week anyway. Zay Jones, he re-injured the MCL, PCL sprain. He did miss week 6. He's likely out week 7 and possibly week 8 since the Jags have a bye in week 9. It's very possible that we don't see him until after the week 9 bye. Deontay Johnson is now in the 21-day eligible to return window. Deontay Johnson could help move that offense a little bit more. They need whatever help they can get. And then tight end. The only tight end that's really big news for fantasy that's kind of new on the list is Sam Laporta. He had a calf strain. He still played in week 6. His numbers were a little bit low by his typical standards so far this year, but you can look for him to bounce back a little bit against the Ravens in week 7, but I predict that he's probably going to be more likely to be a full go and full on Sam Laporta by week 8 against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. And that's all I have for the injuries. You can either ask me questions, Coach, or you can give us a little bit of the game of the week.
Yeah, man. No, I'm good with that because on Friday nights, TGIF, Justin and George, they're going to bring you through, more. I mean, that was in depth. So I can't say more in depth, but they're going to go through all the players. But I appreciate that. We usually don't do the injury thing, especially since the guys do the injury report on Friday night. I just felt like it was significant enough of a weekend, especially going into the waivers, especially all of you who are Patreon members who have access to the waiver wire docs. You got to know which of your players you're going to be putting on the bench, possibly the IR, and why are you going to be picking up these waiver guys?
And 6 teams on bye this week, so the injuries are even more crucial.
All right, let's talk about games of the week. So you and me were getting a little closer, and then after this week we separated a little bit. All right, so me and Justin, since the start of this thing in season, we do a game of the week competition where we pick every week. We pick a game of the week, and the point differential we add it up. At the end of the season, whoever has the lowest point differential is the winner. Right now, I'm in the lead with 73 points. Justin, you have 103. Last week, I picked Cowboys at Chargers, which ended up, I didn't know if I was biased again because I'm a Cowboys fan, but I thought it was a very, it was an intense game. It had me on the edge of my seat. So it was a very good game. Monday Night Football. I hate those games where the only game on TV. I do. But we won. So it made it much better. You had the Colts to the Jaguars.
Incredible. That Cowboys game was incredible. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, listen, I was sick last week. I don't know what else to say. I can try to think of some other excuses, but I'm trying to save the good ones for later. But this excuse this week was that I was really sick. I'm not even a Gardner Minshew guy. I never have been. Like I've always said, he's a solid backup. You need a guy that's going to come in during a game. He's a guy that everybody loves, so they'll rally around him. But he's not a starting quarterback. I should have known better. The Jaguars thwomped the Colts, and I deserve that beating. So it is what it is. But I'm feeling much better about my game of the week this week, Coach.
Oh, I love your game. So I'm going to just Chargers, Chiefs. I think the Chargers are good. Their defense, their front four, very good with Mack and Bosa. Both were healthy. Derwin James. I mean, they played the Cowboys great. The Cowboys couldn't run the ball at all, and that's an issue. On the offensive side of the ball, they were like very close to hitting a home run at any moment. It's a division game. And I don't think the Chiefs are as good as I think they kind of just, got by the skin of their teeth a few times this season. So it'll be exciting to see two division opponents go head to head. It's in Arrowhead, though. And Arrowhead's a tough place to play. But the game you got, I think it's a game of the year to this point.
Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to build it up to that. I chose the Dolphins at the Eagles. But here's the thing. I kind of chose this for another reason. All right. I've been trashing the Eagles all season. I trashed them all last season, and I thought that they overperformed what I thought they were going to. And I swore to myself that I would not trash them this year. But what I'm seeing on the field is not what everybody is saying that they're seeing. They're just seeing this really good record, this now 5-1 record team that's running roughshod on Underwater Basket Weaving University out there, and they're not even running roughshod on them. They're actually having a lot of difficulty winning close games against crap teams. So, said it 1,000 times. Joe read my bit last week that I had on what we were going to say next week, and I was right. That that we're actually going to start seeing what this Eagles team is really made of. And they lost to a not great team this week, and now they actually get a good team coming in. So personally, I think the Dolphins are going to win this game by more than 2 scores, and it's going to really hurt our game that we play every week. I don't even care because I'm going to enjoy being right on Sunday Night Football.
Love it. Love it. All right. So that's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. We're going to find out a lot about both teams. After that game, we'll have a good idea of who each team is. But Justin, why don't you give a little rival fantasy plug?
Yeah, I'm excited about the rival plug this time because I wanted to tell everybody that I decided I want to play a little game, and you can play along as well with the rival. So I took John's dudes this week that he's about to give us in just a moment, and I made a bingo card out of them. So I think that'll be fun and interesting. And then if I lose, then I can blame Coach for losing my $5 for 5 cards, because that's right. It's only $1 a card for bingo cards. That's joinrival.com/title tribe. You play the bingo cards and you get achievements. Instead of B6, it'll be your quarterback scores a second quarter rushing touchdown. And if he does, then you mark that off of your bingo card. You get a bingo, you win money like I did in week 2. That's now funding my entire season. So anyway, it's joinrival.com/title tribe. Your first deposit of up to $200 will be matched. Plus, I'll give you an additional $25 for free just for going to that link first. And then make sure that you friend us. That's Justin T to T and Coach Sheps T to T. Friend us and send us challenges, rival challenges. Like I went through a whole bunch of them today, and I chose a lot of games where there were Eagles players, and I chose the other guy because I don't think the Eagles players are going to do very well this week. You see how that works?
I do. I do see how it works. And we're not just going to take the bogus ones. So don't
That's
send
right.
us garbage. Send us something. But hearing about the bingo, I don't know if you're watching Practical Jokers, and I don't want to go on a tangent because we're already running a little long. But my favorite episode of Impractical Jokers is when Sal his punishment is to be in like a bingo arena at like a casino in Atlantic City. And there's like 200 people in there, and they're all smoking cigarettes and like agitated. And he has to say bingo. Like me and my son watched that this week. That episode is hilarious. All right, Justin, I'm going to read off the buys, and then I'm going to do my dudes and duds. And then I'm going to pass it to you for the streaming life. All right. So week 7 buys: Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys. They needed it. Houston Texans, New York Jets, and Tennessee Titans. And I like that we have a little Dolphins, Eagles back and forth going on in the comments right now. And I see Dustin said, you can't judge Philly by losing to the New York Jets. I just hope, Dustin, you had the same energy about the New York Jets when the Cowboys beat them. All right. Because if you were one of those people saying the Cowboys beat a bad team when we beat them 30-10, I just want to make sure you weren't one of those people saying that, because then that would be two-faced. We can't be two-faced. And, all right. Dustin's my guy. All right. Do's and duds. Dudes, Brock Purdy, Minnesota Vikings, and Survivor Pool, T2T Survivor Pool. There's only 10 teams left. And somehow I still got San Francisco. And I love that I still have San Francisco coming off a loss, playing Minnesota on Monday night.
With or without CMC, doesn't even matter.
No. Because, I mean, their backfield, like, we all knew, even without, like, they could put I could play running back for them and rush for 50 yards. All right. Brock Purdy at the Minnesota Vikings. Purdy's coming off his first regular season loss in his very young NFL career. Him and the 49ers, they get to rebound to get a Vikings defense that has allowed the 7th most points to opposing quarterbacks this season. Purdy's going to have a good day. And that's also with or without Debo. Debo will likely play. But Jennings looks great. Ayuk, you know how I feel about him. And Ayuk would like nothing more, even though Justin Jefferson isn't playing, he'd like nothing more than to show the Minnesota Vikings fan base, the national media, that he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, especially before he goes out to secure the bag this offseason. Matthew Stafford versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers secondary has allowed some massive performances from opposing wide receivers. I expect both Cooper, because I think Kupp's going to play, and Puka to feast. That being said, give me Stafford, who's going to benefit from both of them scoring. Aaron Jones at Denver Broncos. Aaron Jones has been a little bit quiet this season, coming off a bye. All right, I expect him to be healthy. I think he's going to be back to normal. The Broncos, I mean, most of this is due to them playing the Dolphins, but they're allowing a league worst 50 points per game to opposing running backs. I don't even know how that is possible. So I am going to start the running back against the Denver Broncos, and it is a healthy and fresh Aaron Jones. Next, Josh Jacobs at the Chicago Bears, who's also been kind of quiet. this matchup between the Bears and the Raiders has Josh Jacobs' name all over it. Not only should Jacobs produce on the ground against a hard Bears rushing defense, he'll also produce through the air. Jacobs currently leads all running back with 35 targets. So that's something to consider. He'll do it on the ground. He'll do it through the air. Amari Cooper. Here we go. Cooper is a streaky player. He gets hot, then he usually has 2 or 3 massive games in a row. And I think this is the start of that stretch. This past week, he went 4 receptions, 108 yards. He's going to be facing the Colts. The Colts have given up the second most points to wide receivers through 6 weeks. So I'm going to be starting him. Puka Nacua versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. You said it earlier. Cooper Kupp's a little bit banged up. I think he'll play. But Puka had his quietest game of the season. I think he rebounds in a big-time way against the Steelers secondary is playing pretty bad and allowing a lot of points. And then finally, Michael Mayer at Chicago Bears. So shout out to Halloween. It is October, very much like the Michael Mayer card in the Frankenstein League. He got stronger in October. And we saw Michael Mayer get stronger in October. 11 targets over the last 2 weeks, 89.1 PFF receiving grade last week. Start him up. My duds, Kirk Cousins versus San Francisco 49ers. I'm sorry. You have to play against that 49ers defense without Justin Jefferson that is coming off a tough loss. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to beat the brakes off you. Justin Herbert, the Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium. It's one of the toughest places to play, and the Chiefs defense has been playing quarterbacks pretty well. I think Herbert's going to struggle there. Raheem Mostert at the Philadelphia Eagles. Justin, you probably don't believe this one, so maybe we'll do a rival bet. But the Eagles, they're lights out against the run. Their defensive line, phenomenal. The fact that Jalen Carter fell to them, I lose sleep over that. How, and I know DB, my guy, he's a Lions fan. He thinks it's better that they got Jahmyr Gibbs, but I wish the Lions would have taken this cat, Jalen Carter, so the Eagles wouldn't, because Jalen Carter is a man, and he's going to help the Eagles defense stop Raheem Mostert. Alvin Kamara versus Jacksonville Jaguars. He was all right last week, but the Jaguars are allowing just 15 points per game to opposing running backs, which means Kamara will have his work cut out for him. He's yet to look like the Kamara of old and doesn't seem capable of the big play. Without the big play, I don't think he's startable. Mike Evans versus the Atlanta Falcons. Evans has taken a backseat to Chris Godwin over the last few weeks, combining for just 7 receptions over the last 2 weeks and not topping 50 receptions in either matchup. And the Falcons are actually pretty good against wide receivers. I'm sitting him down. Michael Pittman at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns have allowed the fewest points to opposing wide receivers this season, which I would not have guessed that. And the Colts will be without star rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson. Pittman will struggle. And then finally, Sam Laporta, my guy. All right, you know this, Justin. I've been talking about Sam Laporta since before the season started. The Yak King. But he's a little banged up. And the Ravens, they're built to stop the tight end. And the Ravens actually are built to match up very well with the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions are a better team. I think they win this game. But they're both very gritty, tough teams. And I think, they both run their offense through the tight end. So the Ravens, they see it every day in practice with Mark Andrews. So I think they have the best shot of anybody of shutting down Sam Laporta. So that's my dudes and duds. But Justin, who are you streaming during the bye week?
All right. So the streaming life, the streams of the week. I've got Baker Mayfield at quarterback again. Let's roll the dice with Mayfield again. Why not? He had a rough game in week 6. I get that. But that was against a deceptively good Lions defense. But Baker has averaged as a top 8 fantasy quarterback against weaker defenses and in week 7, he gets to face the Falcons. So they're bottom 3rd in the league against fantasy quarterbacks. So I can see Baker easily being a top 12 quarterback for week 7. Jonnu Smith is my tight end stream of the week. He's still only rostered in less than 15% of redraft leagues. This man is still getting it done. Kyle Pitts had 14.3 PPR points in week 6, but Jonnu still got it done with 13.6 of his own because they don't play the same position in that offense. So before week 6, according to Player Profiler, Pitts had he had ran 149 routes in the first 5 weeks, and he lined up in the slot 100 plays. That's sixth most among tight ends. I'm not saying he ran 100 routes necessarily from the slot, but it's a safe assumption to say that he's at least running half of his routes or more from the slot position based on these numbers. Jonnu is the de facto tight end for the Falcons, and Pitt's agent will be asking the Falcons to give him wide receiver money when his contract comes up for an extension. This week, Jonnu gets to face the Buccaneers, who are kind of middle of the road against tight ends, so they're not good, they're not bad. But this is likely yet another game where the Falcons will feel forced to throw early and often and completely avoid utilizing Bijan the way that they should. My kicker stream of the week. I've been really good on kickers this year, guys. I'm going with Chris Boswell, only rostered in 3.2% of leagues. I have to believe that between having an offense that's struggled all season, and now they're coming off a bye week, Boswell will likely be available to pick up as a free agent, even after the waiver wire. But if you own Brandon Aubrey, Nick Folk, or Kaimi Fairbairn, who are all three waiver wire ads that I told you about earlier this season that are all paying off as top 5 kickers week in and week out, and you don't want to drop one of them, then you maybe don't want to risk waiting until after the waivers run, then go ahead and spend $1 on them and try to get them. But if you want to get ahead of the game, but that's up to you. But the Steelers had the much needed bye week to get healthier and address some of the offensive struggles in preparation for this Rams defense, and maybe getting back Deontay Johnson, which might help them move the ball at least a little bit more efficiently. But while they are capable of moving the ball, they are not able to close out drives with touchdowns, and their solid defense is still capable of giving them decent field position most drives. Oh, and one more thing, Boswell has yet to miss a single kick of any kind so far this season. And I don't believe in jinxes, so you're good. The defense, Jaguars defense, only rostered in 20% of leagues, and I feel like this has been my streaming defense of the week, or a waiver wire defense I've mentioned several times this season. This is a very matchup-dependent team defense, though. They're comparatively okay against really good offenses, but against poor defenses, they're actually really good. They've averaged 4 fantasy points per game against Kansas City, Buffalo, and Houston. But then they average 13 points per game against Atlanta in their 2 games against Indianapolis, making them a top 10 fantasy defense at this point in the season. So the next 2 weeks, the Jaguars face the Saints and the Steelers, who have given up the 17th and 18th most points to fantasy defenses. So they should be a solid waiver wire ad to pick up for the next 2 weeks before you have to drop them for their week 9 bye.
All right, man. I think it's time to give away this DK Metcalf for all you Patreon members who've been waiting. We got this right here. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow. Also, if you're a new member of the Title Tribe, not a member of Patreon, or a member of Patreon, either way, or whatever, you like the show, we got lanyards. I'll ship it to you for free. All right. So reach out to me at Coach Sheps on the Twitter, or you could reach out to us, toiletsandtitles@gmail.com. Send me your address. I'll send you one of these lanyards. But if you want to get into these giveaways, like we're doing this evening, Patreon tier 2 or above, which is tier 2 is $3.50 a month, patreon.com/toiletsandtitles. We greatly appreciate your support. And Justin, we're doing a Yeti cooler giveaway, like a $300 cooler in November.
Yeah, what do I have to do to get in on that?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to do something with this Devon A-Chain signed mini helmet. I don't know. I don't know. That might be coming down the pipe, because we also got this Terry McLaurin signed card. I don't know, but for sure, we got this DK Metcalf card, and we also got a Yeti cooler coming around Thanksgiving. So you're going to want to sign up. Patreon.com/toilets titles. Get in it for the team, for the Title Tribe, and for the giveaway. So let's run this thing, man.
All right. So for this one, it's all of our Patreon supporters that are tier 2 or higher. If you're tier 2, you have 2 entries. If you're tier 3, you have 3 entries, right on down the line. So the higher the tier, the more entries you get. Yeah, I might want to think about that when you're asking for a Christmas gift this year. But I'm going to shuffle the board 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and we're off.
Let's go. Here we go. The suspense for all those listening at home is killing me. Who won it?
Hey, Nicholas Faria.
Nicholas Faria, our guy. He was a little disappointed because his Frankenstein team isn't doing too high. He seemed a little down in the dumps. So everybody.
So Nicholas was super excited all offseason leading up to the Frank. So I kind of feel bad for him too. Like I get that. Like you're the kid that was so super excited to get the bike for Christmas, and then you leave it outside for too long and it gets stolen by February. Like I feel bad for him.
He's in the running for Monster of the Year, which is a $25 this year. Next year we're going to make it even bigger. but it's for somebody a member of the title tribe and of the league that helps us out and kind of an ambassador of the league. So he's in the running for that because he helped us for sure. So Nicholas Faria, Justin, if you don't mind, tag him in the Gilded chat. Well, actually, you got stuff to do because we got another giveaway. We'll tag him after. But if you guys don't mind tagging Nick in the Gilded chat, then Nick, reach out to me with your address. I'll send you this card tomorrow. We have one more giveaway we're doing. This one was easy. I'm surprised more people didn't enter because to me, all you had to do was log into our YouTube, click something with your finger, and type something multiple times. We only had 9 people enter. It was YouTube, like, and comment. We're doing a $25 gift card giveaway. We had 9 entrants. Let's run this thing.
All right. And AMC Plus, quit with the ads over here to the side. You're not a sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor, reach out to us. It's toiletstotitles@gmail.com. But I'm going to shuffle this 3 times so that AMC Plus can see one of the giveaways that we give away here. Oh, Steve Varner. He's the only one that had the 10 entries. Everyone else had 20.
Oh, Steve. Shout out to Steve. All right. So, guys, tag him as well. And then, Steve, I will just Venmo you 25. That'll be the easiest way to get your $25 gift card. It is a T2T gift card, aka cash, $25. So that's the easy way to do it. All right. So we appreciate you. We just want to keep giving back to the community. This is the first season we've done a Gilded Chat, a community chat, and we have over 200 members in there, and everyone is respectful, which is huge. Everyone is enthusiastic, into it, supportive of what we are doing, supportive of what we are building. And I just want to keep giving back to it. Every Patreon we get, every dollar we get, I would like to say that's going back into giving away to Patreon members and more. It's coming out of our pockets as well. This Yeti cooler is going to be coming out of our pocket, but we appreciate you. We want to give back. We want to make it worth it. We want you to tell your friends. The more, the merrier. Let's keep building this thing. toiletstitles.com. All right. The Patreon team, the title tribe. Justin, what did you learn from the show today? You got anything for me?
I do. I got that I'm going to win a $5 rival bet against Coach for Mostert versus Swift. And then I also
sign me up.
Yeah, I figure you would jump on that one. And I also learned that Coach would actually be able to rush for 50 yards in a game in that 49ers backfield.
Let's go. Let's go. All right, man. I could still hang clean like 220 squat, like put me out there. I'll get murdered after.
And I'm sure you missed it, but in the comments I put that that offensive line and that team is so good that I could probably even get the ball back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. You could be my fullback. You could be my fullback. All right. Hey, everybody. We appreciate you. 200 episodes in the book. It has been absolutely phenomenal. Here's to another 200. toiletstitles.com. Join the title tribe. Get in the Gilded chat. Join Patreon. Patreon.com/toiletstitles. Toilets2titles@gmail.com. Not the number 2. TO. Toilets2titles@gmail.com. Say, hey, Coach sent me. I want to join this title tribe. I want to get in the chat. I want to be a part of the community. There's a lot of football left. Man, we got Halloween squares. I didn't even mention the Monday Night Football. We got $5 squares. We got about 30 squares left. Get yourself a $5 square. The game Lions, Raiders. So it'll be fun to watch. But if you got some skin in the game, you might win something every quarter. Get in there. $5 squares. We do squares for Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing squares for Christmas. We're going to be doing giveaways. So we have tons of things going on outside of football to keep you busy until we're back to football. All right. So we got you. We'll take care of you. Good luck this week. If you're on the fence, remember the guys I mentioned to sell. Remember the guys I mentioned to target. We'll see you all later on. Take care.